AI is eating the financial advisors industry. And if you want to survive, you need to either leverage it or get swallowed. Most financial advisors right now throw documents into ChatGPT and think they're ahead of the game, but they're making a big mistake. While, for example, they can charge up to $15,000 for a calculation engagement report, they're still wasting a dozen or so hours a week just moving data around manually, whether it's from ChatGPT to their spreadsheets or whatever other documents. The smartest advisory firms aren't using ChatGPT at all. They've completely automated the entire process end to end. I know this because my friends at Acuity Capital felt this exact same pain. So I partnered with them to help them automate it. They would get various PDFs from clients with slightly different formats, but they would always have to extract the same information from these PDFs in order to create these reports. So for example, here's one with redacted information where all they really need to do is grab all the account names and the amounts from the rep column for this year's report. And so as you'll notice now, the first half of this report is kind of slightly different. So really they would need only the parts from page 3 and down. And they would have to do this manually for all the reports. Now they would just take this data and transfer it to the Excel worksheets that they have set up. So this is kind of what it looks like. They would take the account names and they would add them to a column here where they would clean up the names a little bit because from year to year, the client could send slightly different names for the accounts, maybe a spelling mistake, maybe a typo, something like that. And in the next two columns, they would assign options such as accounts receivable, cash for these accounts. They would also have to assign them a BS or IS tag. So we automated this whole thing. We drag and drop the client PDF, and in return, we get a worksheet filled out with all of these options. Now let's see this thing in action. All I have to do is just put in the client name, select the file. This is the one we looked at earlier, and hit upload. Now it took a bit of time because the processing takes a while, but here we have the report. If we save it and open it, we see exactly what we were looking for. All the accounts were extracted in their own column, and the FS mapping and the FS have been assigned for each account. Now you might think that's simple, just use an API, Anthropic or OpenAI or Gemini. And that's what we thought too. But after testing dozens of different PDFs, turns out that these APIs are not exactly like the chatbots. So something else is going on when you drop a PDF into the Anthropic chat window compared to when you send a PDF to their API. And so it turned out it's not reliable at all. You will get half the results, data missing from the PDF. It was just completely off. And just to show you, here's a Postman request that I made to Gemini with the same exact file. And as you can see here, I logged out the years, and even with an elaborate prompt, it still only did like half the PDF. There's only 45 rows here. The PDF has over 120 relevant rows. And clearly that wasn't going to work for us. So we developed a bulletproof 3-step process that actually made everything click. So step 1 was getting reliably parsed data from the PDF. This means converting unstructured PDF data into structured. For us, the best was JSON. Now, the way we did this was we went to LlamaParse. It's a service by Llama Cloud, and it's just an API. There are other services you can use that do this, like unstructured.io, but we just went with Llama Cloud because it was very easy to get started with, and they have a free tier. Now, just to be clear, you can do this on your own as well. You can host one of these libraries. One of the main ones is actually MinerU. Let's see if we can find it on a high quality data extraction tool. This is also running a machine learning model if you decide to deploy it on your own. But since Llama Index worked, there was no reason for us to do this. I mean, it's just another thing you have to manage. So the idea behind it was instead of feeding raw PDFs to Claude or Gemini APIs, we actually just transform our PDF via LlamaParse, and it gives us back a JSON with all the data from that PDF, including tables, headings, everything that we actually need. Now, another benefit of that is that you can just operate on the JSON that it returns. If your PDFs are consistent in any way, whether they're all going to have, for example, this account column and a rep column, that makes things a lot easier. You don't have to send that JSON again to an LLM. You can just parse the data. And that's exactly what we did. So here's an example of the JSON that comes back from LlamaParse. As you can see, we have rows of tables and it's all extracted from our PDF. So step 2 is extracting the data out of the JSON and injecting it into our template. Now we create the template on the fly with a JavaScript Excel library, which makes things really easy and nobody has to actually manually create any templates. Notice that we're still not calling any LLMs at this point. We're just filling our template worksheet. At this stage, the template worksheet is filled out for column A and column D. So we persist it and then move to step 3. It's in this third stage where we will call an LLM like Anthropic or OpenAI to assign each of the account names a category for FS mapping or FS. And that's the 3 steps. We parse the data, we extract it into custom templates, and then we leverage LLMs to do domain-specific knowledge and categorization where humans would actually need to spend a significant amount of time doing this manually. Now, of course, all of this can extend into different types of reports, different flows. We can take the results of one report, add it to another. And because our system is pretty modular, we can swap out providers, compare results, even do parallel tasks. So hopefully that was helpful. Obviously, you can do this many different ways, and maybe some people can make it work with big prompts and just sending everything to a big provider in PDF format. But using existing tools that are very specific for the job tends to work out the best. And let me know what you think in the comments.